Aloha, everybody, and welcome back to a very special edition with, I would say this is like the iodine expert, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to talk all about iodine today. It's something that we get a lot from clients. You know, what about iodine? Should I be looking at it? Or, and there's different things that can result from not getting enough. So we're going to talk all about iodine today with Sara. Welcome on the channel, Sara.
Thanks for having me. And I'm not surprised that a lot of your listeners are interested and this is going to affect them because most people coming to you are looking for weight loss or gut issues or some health issue that they can't figure out. So they're going to an elimination diet like a keto diet or a carnivore diet and trying to figure out what's going on. Right. And iodine might be one of the missing links. So, yeah.
And it seems like a fourth of practitioners say you shouldn't take iodine, especially if you have Hashimoto's. Like, can we address that?
Yeah, and I would love to direct them to my interview with Dr. Brownstein. And I actually made a clip of it because I said, can you please explain to people where this myth came out of and why it's wrong? He goes, Sara, I was the one who started the myth. I was the one who said no one should take iodine when they have Hashimoto's, but that was in the first 5 years of my practice when I knew nothing. He said, I, of course, put everyone with Hashimoto's or any hypothyroidism on iodine. And I have a full-length podcast with him. We dive deep into it. And in fact, there was an article that came out recently saying the opposite. And I texted him yesterday and I said, I think you need to come back on and we need to debunk this, this trend because people need to know. The problem is that more than ever in history, we need iodine. It's not just for the thyroid anymore. It's for the protection of the, from the modern toxicity, and we can get into all of that, but the endocrine disruptors, the plastics, the heavy metals that all fill the body. Well, those things fill the iodine receptor sites, not just in the thyroid, but on every cell in the body, whether it's 100 trillion cells that we have in our body or quadruple billion cells, whatever it is, every cell has iodine receptor sites. So if they are not filled with iodine, guess what they're going to be filled with? In that halogen column from chemistry, you've got the fluoride, the bromide, the chlorine. I'm in California. We just got hit with the fires, which is devastating. But guess what they're putting in that fire retardant? Obviously, we need the fire retardant to put out the fires, but it's bromide. Bromide's illegal in Europe. Bromide's in our processed foods. Bromide's in our couches, in our clothing, and all of these things. You know, you've got your children in water polo and swimming, and they're in chlorine. You've got fluoride in the water. Thank goodness the government has actually recognized that fluoride in water is actually dumbing down our kids and lowering their IQ. Well, guess what helps IQ? Iodine. I've also written an article on children and iodine. Children need iodine more than adults, and pregnant women need it more than the regular population. Why? Because during puberty, during pregnancy, there's more apoptosis. There's more growth of cells and turnover. Well, the number one thing to help that process is iodine. And there are study after study that actually shows that high doses of iodine does not cause mortality, does not cause hypothyroidism. The problem is when you start taking iodine, the TSH, which I know you've had Amy Horniman on, and she and I agree 1,000% on iodine, is that when you are high dosing or even start taking it, your body wakes up and that TSH might go up temporarily. Well, TSH is a pituitary hormone. So the pituitary is going, oh my goodness, I love this iodine. I need more of it. So it starts screaming to the thyroid saying, make more T4. We love this stuff. but it's transient. It lasts for about 6 months and then it will go normal. And so when people go to their doctors, number one, doctors are not testing T3 and reverse T3. And I know Amy talked to you about that as well. Those are the important numbers. That is your metabolism. That's your fat burning. That's your energy. That's your immune system. That's your hormones. That's your cleansing of your liver. And we can talk about the connection with your liver. But with that iodine, if you're feeling great, but your doctor's saying, no, you're hypothyroid because your TSH is going through the roof, you need to ask your doctor, well, did you test my free T3? Because I feel good. And so I always say, whether it's talking about iodine or something else, I always tell people, how do you feel? You're your best doctor, right?
We definitely use that approach as well, because labs can be deceiving, and labs generally are just the average of what they're seeing in that lab. So they just take the average and create the normal range. Well, people getting blood labs are usually sicker. So the averages are not very reliable in that way. So. Hey everyone, we are on a little safari here in Africa, and I got a little friend right behind me here, eating some grass and some trees. He's not a carnivore, but if you are, it's great to keep your electrolytes up, and especially when you travel, if you keep your electrolytes up, it really helps. I actually personally find I don't go number 2 as often if I don't bring my electrolytes along when I travel. I'll go 2-3 days without, but Element is great for travel. It's easy to pack. We really like it. And if you go to drinkelement.com, oh, watch out, /Keto Maria, you can get a free sample pack with order. So check it out, drinkelement.com /Keto Maria, and get a free sample pack with any order. Symptoms are always better.
You do not want to be normal, right? You don't want to be normal. So let's go through some of the things that iodine does and why it's needed more than ever. So number one, it's kicking out those halogens. So if it's filling those receptor sites, then there's no place for that chlorine, the bromide, or the fluoride to connect to, and they'll just be flushed out and processed by your liver and kidneys and get out of the body. Now, if they aren't, then they will attach to those receptor sites and cause chronic disease and cancers. Dr. Brownstein talks about every patient that had breast cancer in his clinic had high levels of bromide in their system and low iodine. Okay, so it helps kick out the halogens. It also helps kick out heavy metals. The thyroid loves lead and other heavy metals. So if you don't have enough iodine for your thyroid, those other toxins are going to love to grab onto that thyroid and slow down your thyroid. The fluoride loves your brain. Iodine decalcifies your pineal gland. So that's why a lot of people getting on iodine will actually say, oh my gosh, I got on it for fat burning, but my brain's woken up. The brain fog's gone. My depression's lifted. Well, most people on antidepressants are actually hypothyroid, but their doctors are not testing that free T3 and the reverse T3 to see where their actual thyroid is functioning. So if you're listening and you are on an antidepressant, I'm not telling you to stop your antidepressant. I'm telling you to go back to your doctor and get a full thyroid panel, or start supplementing with iodine and see how you feel, because most people on antidepressants are not getting results that they think they want to get just from that antidepressant. So iodine is known to improve mood. Iodine deficiency is the number 1 cause of depression. It also helps protein synthesis. So as we're eating our carnivore heavy diets, we need to be able to have that support from iodine to increase that protein synthesis, because we are only as good as our body assimilates the food we take in. It's not the food we take in. It has to be translated into what our body needs, right? So we want energy from our food. We want hair growth. We want muscles to build. We want ATP to improve. All of that comes from protein synthesis and the assimilation of the nutrients, and iodine helps that. It also destroys pathogens, viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungus. The interesting thing is it was used during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. So we had our own pandemic. They didn't talk about iodine for a reason, but they did use it during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic before any of this other modern stuff was going on. It supports the immune system. It helps regulate estrogen production. So another reason people are coming to you, the weight gain, the unexplained weight gain, the brain fog, the gut issues. Well, estrogen dominance is through the roof. I don't care if you're my 20-year-old daughter, you are me or you, Maria, or you, Craig, men, women, elderly, young, we're all suffering from estrogen dominance because of the xenoestrogens in our environment, the parabens, the plastics, microplastics. I've talked a lot about those lately. And those things will hamper your balance of your estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. We all, even us women, need that testosterone to feel good, to build that muscle, to have hair growth, all of those great things. But when we have these bad estrogens in our body, they take things out of whack. And that's going to cause your symptoms. And one thing that iodine does is it helps regulate the estrogen and progesterone ratio, and it also helps detox the body. So this is the cell membrane. The cell membrane is the brain of the cell. The cell membrane has an iodolipid value, meaning iodine and fat value. And if you don't have enough iodine, or if you don't have the healthy fats, you have rigid, clumped up cells together, rigid cell membranes, so that the toxins can't get out of the cells and the nutrients can't get in. So once again, here we are eating all of this healthy food, but it's not actually getting into the cells. So that cell membrane is really important. It's telling the body what's allowed in and what's allowed out. So you need that iodine for that iodolipid value. Inside the cell, you've got the mitochondria. We are only as healthy as our mitochondria. We are only as healthy as our ATP. That is your immune system. That's your longevity. That's your energy. It's not coming from the monster drink or the coffee. It is coming from that ATP. Well, iodine actually increases your ATP to the maximum 36 to 38 ATP per mitochondria. So the more, that's why people wake up and go, oh my gosh, I've got all this energy. It's needed for the thyroid, of course. Now, we've got that T2, the T3, the T4. Well, what does that stand for? Tyrosine and 2, 3, and 4 molecules of iodine. So we need the tyrosine from our meats, right? That's where we get our amino acid tyrosine. But you need that 2, 3, and 4 molecules of iodine to make up your thyroid hormones. That is your metabolism, your heart rate, your fat burning, your hormones, your whole endocrine system. I want to know, have you taken your body temperature with a regular old school thermometer lately in the morning? My guess is that most of you do not sit at 98.6 anymore. If it's less than that, then you're hypothyroid. Our body's supposed to be higher. But the problem is the normal is now like at 96.7, 97. That means your thyroid isn't optimal and you need that iodine. So when people say you should not supplement with iodine, that's like saying you should not drink water. You need.
Yeah. So, we used to have everything was iodinized salt, iodine
Right.
added to your salt. And a lot of that's kind of gone away. But what are some of the reasons that our needs have increased for iodine over the years?
So we have more fluoride in the water. We've got the bromides in our food. They're in our breads, our sodas. Processed food steals ATP from the body. It steals nutrients. The salts that used to be iodized, and maybe you're still eating a salt or using a salt that's iodized. Well, that salt is also coming with microplastics, and it's also coming with other chemicals that are inhibiting the absorption of the iodine that you're trying to get from it, and you're not getting enough. The other problem is most iodines out there, most iodine supplementation is diatomic, meaning it's two molecules. It's iodine connected to a potassium molecule or sodium, and the body, who's already in a weakened state, needs to pull it apart to use that iodine. That's where my iodine, the Cellular iodine, is monoatomic, where it's easily absorbed by all 100 trillion cells in the body. Okay, so you've got a lack of iodine in our diet anymore. Our soils are depleted, not just of iodine, but of magnesium, potassium, and all of the nutrients. I always tell people, eat your vegetables if you like them. Don't eat them for nutrients. You need to be getting most of your nutrients from that wild animal protein, like the bison that have lived long years and have those nutrients like the B vitamins and the iron, and even some of the vitamins that you think you're getting from the soils in the meat. But that's still not sufficient for iodine. So our soils are depleted, so our iodine needs to go up. And as Dr. Brownstein says, he goes, hey, the amount of hypothyroidism has gone up and iodine supplementation has gone down. So you do the math. Like it's just basic.
Yeah.
You tell that to a fourth grader, they'll figure it out.
Is it true that if you've gone on a lot of flights with the radiation, you need more?
Yes. I always take an extra dose of iodine before the flight and after. And there's a supplement that I pair with it called Nuke No More that is a radiation supplement that helps to detox the body of radiation. So I'll take that extra dose of it as well, because the radiation from our cell phones that are with me and you know, every day, unless you're out on the water, Maria, you've got your cell phone in your right hand and we're in front of a computer. We're all being exposed to more radiation than ever before. Studies have not been done on what this radiation is doing to us. And the iodine helps eliminate or mitigate that effect. Now, something that's new is the pandemic. Okay, so with that pandemic, we have the spike protein. The spike protein has disrupted liver function. It's caused the ACE2 receptor in the liver to go haywire. So that causes insulin resistance, hypothyroidism, mental issues, water retention, hair falling out, all of these things. And our liver is already bombarded by all of these other things we're talking about. Well, the iodine will help cleanse the liver or cleanse the blood so the liver can do its job. So inside the cell, it's increasing the ATP in the mitochondria. It's helping the cell membrane. And outside the cell, it's help cleansing the blood so the liver can do its job.
So you touched on a little bit, but let's talk about the difference in the different types of iodine supplements that are out there.
So like I said, there's most iodine supplements are diatomic. And this is interesting because you will read studies that will say, well, the breast tissue prefers this kind of iodine and the thyroid prefers this kind of iodine, but they're both diatomic iodine supplements or formulations. And the interesting part is when the body breaks it apart, it puts that iodine part into I-, which feeds both the thyroid and the breast tissue and every cell in the body. Well, the Cellular iodine comes in that monoatomic I- form. So it's ready to be feeding every cell in the body. And that's why when you take it, you want to make sure you're taking it away from food, away from other supplements, because it's looking to attach to something. And when it attaches to your cells, then your cells wake up and it does its job. So if you're taking it with other supplements or food and you only need to take it literally 12 minutes before any other supplement. So I always take the Cellular first thing in the morning. I wait my 12 minutes and then I take the accelerated thyroid, which many people benefit from those two because they can help people get off of their medication, help boost their thyroid function, metabolism, all of the things. But that iodine in that I- form is going to feed every cell in the body. And it is also helping with blood sugar regulation. It's helping with the appetite. And like I said, the mood and your focus and children's IQ. They've shown that it actually increases children's IQ by pregnant women supplementing with iodine versus those who don't.
Interesting. Do you have link? I'd love it. Put all this information in the description below, like the podcast you talked about earlier. I'll make sure to send that. And then if you have links to any of these studies too, I'll put them in the description down here.
And is it a liquid? Because I know a lot of people like the Lugol's drops, but man, that tastes terrible.
Yeah, no, it is liquid. And I actually have on my website a demonstration of the Lugol's versus the Cellular iodine in water and how it disperses versus not. And it shows very quickly the difference in the absorption. But yes, it's liquid. You put it in water and you chug it. And you can have an ounce of water. You can have 8 ounces of water. The thing is, I minored in psychology, and there's that Pavlov effect, right? So if you feel good from something, even if it tastes bad, your body's going to start craving it, right? So most people feel so good and they feel a difference right away that they don't even think twice about the way it tastes. The other amazing thing about it is you can use it on your skin. So I have an accelerated scalar castor oil. All of my supplements are enhanced with scalar frequencies that take it to a whole nother level. So you take the castor oil and the iodine, you mix it in a mixture, you put it on your face for a face mask. It will help with brown spots, acne, age spots, all of that fun stuff. You can also put it on a skin rash, scar tissue. You can use a gua sha tool to rub over a scar tissue, and you'll see your scar tissue actually break up. There's so many applications for it. You can dilute it and put it in a nebulizer for anyone with, I know the flu's going around right now and it's getting into the lungs. I've heard a lot of people with bronchitis and pneumonia over the last few weeks in the Christmas holiday. So that is something else. The other really amazing thing about iodine is it actually hydrates the cells without water. It formulates H2O in the body, and it's the most powerful antioxidant. It is more powerful than any other antioxidant in the body. So yes, you might want to be taking your vitamin C, but if you're taking your iodine, you kind of don't need the vitamin C anymore. And I just want to make sure, it helps with heart health. So when we're talking about thyroid, the thyroid's the master endocrine gland. The thyroid's down, you better bet your liver's down, your heart's down, and all your organs are just kind of not working. You've got the HPT axis, the hypothalamus pituitary thyroid axis. That is connected to the HPA axis, your adrenal axis. So you can bet that if your thyroid's not working, you're going to be fatigued. Your adrenals are going to be trying to push out as much cortisol, which is also a fat storing hormone. So here you have the double whammy of your thyroid's down, so you're gaining unexplained weight gain. And then your adrenals are suffering because you are pushing out too much cortisol, right? And then you've got the HPG axis, your gonadal system. Those are your sex hormones, your sex drive, all of that. So your hormones are going to be off. So it really affects all of that, but it also affects your heart health. Your thyroid is very connected to your heart health, and it's very connected to your liver health. If you are hypothyroid, your cholesterol might be going up. And this is another interesting thing that we found since the pandemic is that ferritin levels and iron levels have actually crept up, and cholesterol has actually crept up, doing nothing different. And I'm a test case because I'm so boring that I don't change my diet. I'm so consistent with everything I do. And I've even seen my ferritin and my iron levels go up. And what's important to know about that is that you want to make sure you're addressing your thyroid health, but you also want to make sure you're addressing your liver health. And this is where we have come out with a liver supplement called Accelerated Liver Care that literally cleanses, detoxes, restores the liver, especially with everything that the liver is trying to deal with, from the pandemic, from the endocrine disruptors, the microplastics, the processed foods. We haven't even talked about the fact that processed foods are killing us, right? But, you know, I actually just did a podcast on the fact that you would think that it's the processed foods that are killing our children and causing more chronic disease than ever. Yes, that is a factor, but it's also the chemicals and the actual toxins that have no calories in them that are actually doing more damage. And that's going to suppress the thyroid. It's also going to impact the liver health, because guess where that conversion from T4 to T3 occurs? It is in the liver, right?
Yeah.
So as you were talking to Amy about, you know, if you're on a T4 medication or even a natural desiccated thyroid medication or supplement, if your thyroid or if your liver is not functioning and doing all of the hundreds of jobs it's supposed to do, including that conversion, you're not going to feel good. You're actually going to feel worse, because that T4 is going to go into reverse T3. And the stress on the body just from dealing with all these toxins, we talk about stress like, oh, financial stress and marital stress and all of those things. I'm talking about the stress on your organs. Your organ is saying, I need some help here. And it's just by having that stress, all of your survival mechanisms are going to turn on. And that means turning that T4 into reverse T3, slowing down the metabolism, increasing the cortisol, having your hair fall out, because I don't care about your hair. I don't care what you look like. I want to save and preserve that liver and the kidneys and all my expensive organs down here. So you've got to realize that liver is a big, key, important factor when you're talking about metabolism, thyroid health, weight gain. And, you know, the protein is key. As you guys know, that increases the metabolism, that increases ATP, that increases your fat burning. And I test myself with my Lumen every morning. I just had an amazing meal of some venison with a few little tomatoes in it. And it gives my brain energy. It gives me energy. I feel good. There's no binging on meat, right? Because your body is doing what it needs.
I've had clients binge on eating.
Yeah, it depends a little bit on your metabolic state and how leptin resistant you are.
That is a mental state. That's not a
which with you know, extreme obesity that can happen. But you talked about mental health. So how can iodine deficiency affect? I mean, we talked a lot about heart and liver and thyroid. How can it affect mental health as well?
Well, there's two. We'll first start talking about thyroid stress. Okay, so if you are hypothyroid, how do you feel? You're tired. You're fatigued. You don't feel like there's an end to this exhaustion. You know, it's kind of like when you're, you know, when you have the flu, you know you're going to be feeling better in 2 days. When you have hypothyroidism and the doctor's not giving you answers, you get depressed because there's no end in sight. And so thyroid stress is a real thing. But that set aside, when your brain is not getting the iodine or the energy or the blood circulation to your brain, you're going to have brain inflammation, just like you'll have body inflammation from a lack of iodine. Iodine is an anti-inflammatory agent. So it's antioxidant. It creates that hydration in the body. It helps with the inflammation in the body, kills the pathogens. The other thing is parasites eat up your GABA and your serotonin and all your good, happy hormones in the gut. So if you are taking iodine, it helps kill off the parasites that are actually causing those issues. But mere fact of the fact that you have more energy because your thyroid's working and that's getting circulation to all of your muscles, your brain, and your brain and your body, you're going to feel better. It is known as the number one spiritual element because people feel more enlightened when they're taking the iodine. They feel, if you think about it, your thyroid is the bridge from your brain to your body. So it's the communication. If you don't have an optimal thyroid, there's no communication. There's just like this, you're on your cell phone, but it's static. There's no good connection. There's no connection to your higher self or your God or whatever your religion is. But it's also decalcifying the pineal gland and the brain from all of the toxins that are in there. If you have heavy metals, and I did when I was first, coming into this world of natural health, I was overloaded with lead and mercury and aluminum. And my practitioner said, no wonder you feel so crazy, Sara. Lead can make you feel crazy, and your lead is off the charts. Well, I don't feel crazy anymore. I have more brain power today than I did at Stanford University as a college student. I wish I felt this way when I was trying to study back then. But your brain wakes up, it increases that IQ, it increases the circulation. So just think about going to do a workout when you don't have circulation in your muscles, right? Your muscles can't work without circulation. Your brain can't work without circulation. So there's multiple factors. There's that overwhelmingness of I'm never going to get out of this hole of the unexplained weight gain and the fatigue and feeling overwhelmed and my hormones are out of whack and all of those things, to the mere fact that your brain is not getting the circulation and the ATP that it needs to function at its optimal level.
I appreciate all of that, and this has really been enlightening about iodine. And I hope everybody takes a lot of great information from this.
We'll be switching our iodine.
We'll make sure to have links below to everything we talked about. But I want to thank you so much, Sara, for coming on and talking about this.
Thank you, Sara.
Thanks for having me. I love being with you guys.
And you didn't sound like you had a sore throat or sick at all.
Yeah,
I forgot for a second.
I was really worried this morning. You know how your voice is always a lot worse in the morning than it is after you get up. And I went in the sauna, I had my coffee, I had a throat lozenge. So
Perfect.
Sounds a lot better than it did. So I'm glad we did that.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Sara.
Thank you.
When I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with PCOS, acid reflux, depression, and IBS. Instead of taking those prescription drugs, I decided to change my life with food. Yes, food healed me, and it's healed so many of my clients over the past 20 years of working with people. If you are interested in transforming your life, check out ketomaria.com. I'd be honored to help you.